Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to unlock the science of connection for high-performing healthcare teams. This is a topic we've really been digging into in the Culture Coalition, and we're going to dive deep into the source material from Charles Duhigg's amazing book, Super-Communicators, to give you some real, practical tools to transform your team's dynamics.
Okay, let's just jump right in. We've all felt that, right? That buzz, that energy from a conversation where you really, truly connect. But in a hospital setting, when you're managing complex patients with teams of physicians, nurses, and APPs, well, the question becomes way more urgent. How do we actually harness that power of connection to improve patient outcomes and stop our teams from burning out?
So here's our roadmap. We're going to start by really nailing down the core problem we see every day in our clinical environments. Then, we'll unpack the hidden dynamics inside every single interaction. And finally, we'll build a practical toolkit of communication techniques that can de-escalate conflict, build trust, and, ultimately save lives.
Look, as clinical leaders, you are absolute masters of logistics. But the real friction points, the things that really grind the gears, they often have nothing to do with process. Think about the last time a crucial piece of information got missed during a handoff. Was it because the checklist was bad? Or was it because there was a little breakdown in trust? Or maybe just a misunderstanding of what someone really meant? That's the gap we're talking about.
Our teams are filled with world-class experts. They are brilliant. And yet, we still talk past each other all the time. And these little misunderstandings, they lead to frustration. That frustration fuels burnout. And that creates very real risks to patient safety. Our clinical skills are absolutely top-notch, but it's our connection skills that are going to truly set us apart.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Neuroscience shows us that any given discussion isn't just one conversation. It's actually one of 3 different types of conversations. And the key, the absolute game changer, is recognizing which conversation is really taking place.
Charles Duhigg uses this perfect example. Imagine you've had a really tough day at work. You get home, you just want to vent, and your partner immediately jumps in with solutions. You should do this, why don't you try that? Why does that well-intentioned advice so often just backfire?
Well, it backfires because of a mismatch. It's that simple. You were trying to have an emotional conversation. You just wanted them to listen, to say, wow, that sounds really hard. But they launched right into a practical conversation, trying to fix the problem. The advice might be great, but the timing is completely off, because you're just not in the same conversation.
So, here's the crucial point. Genuine communication relies on what scientists call neural entrainment, which is a fancy way of saying your brainwaves literally start to mirror each other. It's the biological reason we feel in sync with someone, and it all starts by just matching the type of conversation they're trying to have.
And you know what the best news of all is? This is not some kind of innate magical talent. Super communicators aren't born, they're made. Matching is a set of skills that anyone can learn. So let's open up the toolkit.
Research shows that people who consistently connect, especially when the pressure's on, use 3 incredibly powerful techniques. They ask these really potent questions to uncover what's really going on. They listen to truly understand, and they build trust by being just a little bit vulnerable themselves.
This is such a simple but profound shift. So instead of asking a new colleague, what hospital did you work at before this? Try asking, what do you love most about being a doctor? See the difference? One question gets you a fact. The other invites him to tell you what drives them, what they actually care about. It just opens the door to a real connection. Okay, this simple 3-step process is arguably the single most effective tool you have for building trust. When you paraphrase what a nurse or a patient has just told you, and then you ask, did I get that right? You are actively proving you understand them. In a crazy busy clinical environment, just taking that one extra moment to loop for understanding can prevent misinterpretations that could lead to serious medical errors.
All right, so now let's see how these simple tools can have a profound impact in environments where clear communication is literally a matter of life and death. So Duhigg tells the story of this doctor, Dr. Adai, a brilliant surgeon who just could not understand why his patients were choosing riskier treatments against his advice. He was so focused on the practical, the logic of the surgery, but his patients, they were trapped in the emotional reality of their diagnosis. And this, right here, illustrates the power shift. He stopped leading with facts. He started his consultations with this one, single, deep question. He matched their emotional conversation first. They talked about their fears, their families, and only once they felt truly heard were they finally able to hear his practical medical advice.
And look, this isn't just about the bedside. NASA learned that for long missions in space, the critical skill wasn't just technical brilliance, it was matching the emotional states of the crew. Just like a space capsule, the ICU is a tiny, high-pressure environment where the ability to manage emotional states is every bit as critical as technical skill.
And here's the thing, you can't fake it. You just can't. Our brains are exquisitely tuned to detect authenticity. We can spot a forced laugh almost instantly. So as leaders, we have to foster an environment where genuine connection is really valued and practiced, because our teams, they can spot a fake a mile away.
So, how do we, as leaders, take these incredibly powerful insights and apply them right away? How do we make our teams stronger, our patient care safer, and our own work just a little bit more fulfilling?
These are the crucial points to remember. In any interaction, just first ask yourself, what kind of conversation is this, really? Then match them where they are. Use those deep questions, loop for understanding. Because in healthcare, connection isn't a nice to have. It is a need to have for providing safe, effective care. It's a core competency.
And that's the challenge I want to leave you with. In your very next team meeting or that next difficult patient conversation, what is the one question you can ask to shift the entire dynamic and build the psychological safety our teams so desperately need to thrive? Because when we learn to truly connect with each other, we don't just improve our teams, we absolutely transform the lives of our patients.